how to do a body recomposition in 12 weeks. A body recomp is the ability to drop body fat and also gain some tissue over a short period of time. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Sergi and I run the Gorilla Platoon. This is a physique transformation, pretty much body recomp fucking training program that gets people in pretty good nick in a fairly short space of time. The shortest one was 8 weeks. The longest one we've had is actually, this was 16. We've had one that is 20 weeks long. So a fairly short space of time. So that's potentially why worth listening to. And if you're not new to the channel, you're coming back and revisiting, thank you. You know that we've done a video for each one of these results. Why? Because they're all different and there's always something we can learn from each and every result. And for today's one, with speaking about this result, I'm very, very excited to deliver a concept because, of course, we're going to go through how we set him up, how we made changes, how we managed to get the result in a certain time frame. But I'm going to give it you in a 3-step process, with step number 1 being actually the most important. Most fucking YouTubers will make you wait till step 3 and make you watch the fucking full video. I'm going to give you the money, I'm going to give you the juice right at the start of the video. So you're going to enjoy this one. And to be honest, if we don't nail step 1, I can give you the tactics. I can tell you how to do the body recomposition. You still will not get the results. Because honestly, it's not about the tactics. Obviously, what I'm going to give you is going to streamline you to the goal. But ultimately, if we don't really nail down step 1, it's going to fall on deaf ears. And I'm honest enough to say that to you. So my promise to you, by the end of this video, you will know how to do your own body recomposition. You'll understand how to set it up, how to make changes as you go through to get to the goal, and most importantly, how to actually stick to said plan along the way. So we're going to do so, as we spoke about, in a 3-step process. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe right now, because I'm going to be dropping more game and value to you, because I believe that every man has his fucking birthright to go from this to this. What'd be really cool actually is if I separated all the images and just put all their before photos on here and be like, this is what the average of men are looking like today. This is the fucking potential that you could have. And every man deserves it. And you know what? You're not that far away. Unless you're 25%, but even this guy was 25% body fat. This guy was probably close to 25% body fat. It's only fucking 4 to 5 months of work away, and you can look like this. It's honestly, it's not that bad. The problem is, people will sell you fluff and shit. I'm not about that. And if you've watched any previous videos, you know I just give you the truth and tell you honestly, and ultimately that's why. And honestly, thank you for the comments, by the way. If you're returning to the channel, you've commented, I generally really appreciate it. And off the back of that, if you know, on Instagram, guys will message me and be like, this is my starting photo, this is my scale weight, what do you think? I'll do you a little loom video for 2 minutes and say, this is what I think. So honestly, you have my blessing. If you want to go to my Instagram and message me and say, what do you think about my situation? I'll give you an action plan. I don't mind. I love it. And the fact I've done it so many times, it's not hard for me to do. So you watch this video in the early stages of this channel, go ahead. I'm more than happy to help you. So we're going to roll through to step number 1, and it's to do with your self-image. And this idea really came from observing the client, but also we were chatting yesterday, and he was like, listen, thank you, you really helped transform me. And I reflected and I thought, no, I was like, you've been probably one of my most adherent clients, as in the least, we didn't need to speak that much. I didn't need to overly change things. I didn't need to motivate him. It was a very seamless transition for 12 weeks. Now that's good. And obviously also I like the ones where they're challenging as well. But ultimately with this, I was like, why is that? And I know this guy fairly well. And what it comes down to is his ability to be like, yeah, tell me what to do and I'll just get it done. Because he has a high self-image of himself. He has a high standard in certain areas of his life. The certain people he will associate with are of a certain caliber. The certain amount of income he will make is of a certain caliber. The certain type of women he will be around is of a certain caliber. Because he has high standards, when I'm giving him a plan, it's like, yeah, I already have high standards. Of course, I'm going to do this to the absolute fullest. It's already done. It's not too much of an issue. I'm not out my comfort zone trying to do this. Now, that's all well and good for him, but not everyone's like that. But what we can do is we can extract his mindset and we can pull that out of his head and put it into yours. And I'm going to do so in this step 1 process. So let's remember, you are where you are in life right now because of your own doing. I think if you watch this channel and you've seen me before, I think we can quite agree that that's a fair statement. Now, but bar any like freak accidents or you were born in a certain country, fine. This isn't universal. I do appreciate that. But let's just say you're watching this channel, you've come from a fair upbringing, maybe in the West, maybe in the East, it doesn't really matter. But you've had choices. Where you are right now is a full reflection of just the choices you've made, and you've ended up today on the 20th of May 2024 in the state that you are, in the current situation, for good or bad. There'll be good reasons, there'll be bad reasons, but you are where you are in life because of your own doing. And I think as soon as you accept that, the better you feel, because you're like, yeah, I'm actually in control. And even if things aren't really my fault, if I take them that they're my fault, then ultimately I will feel like I'm the one in charge, not life is in charge of me and I'll just have to take it like a little bitch. So, with that in mind, we now need to go through and assess why you are where you are. Now, have you tried to get in shape before, but it's felt like you're swimming upstream? It's felt like someone's got this elastic band around you and you're trying to run and they're leaning back and you're trying to pull them and you're not really going anywhere. Or you're swimming, but you're swimming against the current. You're like, fucking hell. Yeah, if it feels like that, I'm going to tell you why. Most people will honestly, they will feel that when they're trying to get towards their goals. So why it feels like you're swimming upstream. We've got the old you and we've got the new you. Now, the old you is weighing you down so much. And I want you to imagine this analogy in... So we've got the old you, and this is his basket. And we've got the new you, and this is his basket, okay? Now, the old you, in fact, we're going to say this basket will hold rocks, and so will this one. The rocks denote your habits. Now, the way you are made up is due to your own habits. And you have stacked a lot of rocks inside this basket. Now, these habits can be waking up late. It can be eating processed foods. It can be drinking a little bit too much alcohol on a weekend. It can be lack of sleep. It can be lack of exercise. It can be lack of progressive overload in exercise. It can be hanging around with negative people. It can be listening to negative people. It can be making decisions off being around negative people. In the new you, you're probably doing a couple of things. You're walking every day. You're drinking enough water that you should do every day. You're exercising 3 times a week for a week and then not again. You fall off and lose consistency. You change your plan all too often. You listen to random people and then change your plan again because you think you've found the new shiny object. And ultimately, you are where you are because of your habits. And your habits will stack how you perceive things. Now, when you need to go towards the new you, it's so fucking difficult because you have built up all these habits. Now, all these habits create your identity. How your identity is how other people will perceive you. So your missus will perceive you in a certain way because of all of the habits that you've stacked together and the way you've acted in the world. Now, for you to try and change into another person, there's going to be some resistance there because they're going to treat you relative to how you are now. Which makes sense, of course it does. Like that's like saying, well, I've seen this football team do so well over the last season, and yeah, so now I'm going to treat them like they're champions. Whereas, like, if you've seen a team that's got battered all season, you're going to treat them like they're pond scum. So it's the same. But ultimately, you will have everyone that will treat you in that way. So you've got your missus is one, your friends is another, your work colleagues is another one, your parents is another one. You've got just random people that know you, and random people online, and they will treat you in a certain way. So when you're trying to break out into a new character, of course you're going to feel like you're swimming upstream. If you're watching this and you live at home with your parents and you're saying, I'm going to go out and do my steps at 6 a.m. every day, they're going to be like, oh, it's 6 a.m. every day? Are you sure you want to do that? What about your sleep? What about this? And I'll bring your tea up for you. You know, Mum, I need to eat this clean meal for my diet. No, come on, have this. And that's why the resistance is so hard to physically change, because your fucking basket is so filled with old habits that you're just, in this analogy seesaw, it's weighed so far down. So what do we need to do here? How can we honestly fix this? We need to trim and stack. Okay? We need to trim and remove the old rocks, the old bad habits out of this basket, and we need to add good ones into this basket. And then we will ultimately tip the balance from soft piss tank to V-tapered back and chiseled at set of abs. So for there to be any change, we need, because otherwise the old you will always overpower the new you. So you can try, and this is what will happen. People won't take this concept serious. They'll try on a new goal. It will last 2 weeks. And this is, by the way, if you don't have someone to keep you accountable, fuck, that must be so hard. Because you're trying to do the new you with all the old you habits and mindsets and beliefs. No wonder you'll last 2 weeks. You'll be able to do 2 weeks because for the first 2 weeks you get that shiny object syndrome, and that will propel you, that will motivate you into the first 2 weeks, but that will fade away quite quickly. You've felt this before. You've started a new goal, it was going well for a week or two, and you fell off because the initial motivation dwindled away and you were just left to how you were as a person to go and proceed that goal. You as a person are like this with your old bad habits. It's not your fault, by the way. Like, these habits are made up just from how you view the world, how you listen to people, how you then took that in and applied it into your own life. It's just influencing like the way you've seen things. So it is your fault because everything's your fault, but at the same time, I understand how you got there. Now I'm going to get you back out. So that's why it feels like you're swimming upstream. We need to change the dynamic so you're swimming downstream. And to do so, we want to pull these old habits out and stack new ones in there. Now, the first concept I want to teach you in how you're actually going to be able to set the goal and continue moving towards it is the analogy of a hot coal rocks line. That says coal, it's going to say coal, as in like piece of coal. If I put you on hot coal rocks, you would jump off as fast as possible because it's really, really fucking hot. Now, I want you to imagine the hot coal rock line denotes your level of standard for different domains in your life. It will be, as I spoke about with the client earlier, your level of income. Below that line, you will not let it go below that line because you will wake up in the middle of the night thinking, shit, I need to really fucking fix this. People are going to go hungry if I don't fix this. You will actually have that with your level of body fat. There will just become a certain, you'll get too fat, you're like, no, I feel so uncomfortable and ashamed of myself, I will fix this. And you'll go back to your comfort line as such. The same will go for your hygiene. Like, you let's be honest, you're probably wearing a t-shirt and you will allow X amount of stains on it before you're like, no. Enough is enough. This t-shirt is classed as now dirty. I will change it. And when I say a stain, I'm talking a flick of butter off the pan onto that t-shirt. That's what I'm saying. It's not big fucking clumpy. I know you're not an absolute piece of shit, but it's that level of the stain. There are some OCD guys that will touch, boom, t-shirt off, boom, clean one. And that's their hot coal rocks line. So your cleanliness is another one. How often you get a haircut is another one. For me, my hot coal rock line of a haircut is every 7 days, ideally every 6. But to be honest, I will not let it go longer than that because I just don't feel cleaning in myself. Now, the only difference between the average person and the high achiever in that domain of life, I'm not saying, to be honest, how you do everything, how you do one thing is how you do everything. But in this analogy, we'll only speak about fitness. The high achiever in fitness just has a standard of line where he will not go below, and his standard of line is really, really fucking high. That's the only difference between the high guy and the low guy. I'm no better than you, but my standard is up here. I've been doing this for that long. It is who my identity resonates with. So I will not go above a certain body fat. I will not go below a certain muscle mass. I will not go below a certain amount of lung and heart health and be able to, perform like general tasks. I will not go below a certain ability to summit mountains. I will not go below my ability to lift a certain weight in the gym. That's just my standard, and I will not go below it, and I will move heaven and earth if I do to get back up there. What we need to do is the same for you, to get your standard higher. Where does that come from? It comes from, honestly, 2 things. You may have what's known as a fuck this event, where you get to the point of pain where you're like, enough is enough, this has to stop and change, otherwise I know where my life is heading. And that feeling, that pain, that dissatisfaction that is honestly the fuel that will always be inside of you when you don't want to do the work. You will remember that is so much worse than the little bit of work you need to do, so you will always leverage that and allow yourself to do the work. So dissatisfaction is honestly the biggest driving factor of allowing you to get to the next point. The second point I always use is, we only live once. We only fucking live once, so we may as well fucking go out with a bang. We may as well put all into this life, because otherwise you're going to get to your deathbed and you're going to regret it. You're going to think, I probably could have been in better shape. It would have given me a pretty better life because of how much happiness it would have given me. I would have been stronger to try random shit. I would have been able to go up that mountain that not many people have done. But I didn't, because I just didn't have the drive. So you've either got dissatisfaction now, or you will regret it later. So you want to look at those two and think, right, fuck, right, come on, man, we can do better than this. And hopefully, as I'm saying this is making sense to you. Like, yeah, okay. So I need to raise my hot coal rock line, and that's going to allow me to move up. So as we've trimmed and stacked, we understand your hot coal rock line. We need to then transform where you are today to where we want to take you to the 2.0 version of you. Now, the 1.0 version, and the reason they don't make the progress, it feels like they're swimming upstream and 2 weeks later they fall off, is because what he would do is he would just look for the tactic. How many calories do I need to eat? What's the best workout routine? What protein should I take? Do I take creatine? Or should I just take gear? That's what he's thinking about. And that's why he'll never get there. Because he's not thinking about the man he needs to become. He's thinking about the cheap tactics. Like, anyone ever watched any advice on how to get women online? Cheap, shitty tactics. Try it. It doesn't fucking work. None of it works. You want to know the secret to get better with women? Just speak to more women. Just say hello. Have a conversation. It's honest. It's not rocket science when you start doing it. It's like, hi. Oh, you got a funny accent. Oh, cool. Let's take the piss out of that for a little bit and make it humorous. Oh, where are you from? Oh, cool. You're staying around here. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, you're quite sexy. What's your number? It's honestly not rocket science, but people think, and you need to say this and have your voice like, shut the fuck up. It's not simple. It's just humans speaking. It's not complicated, sorry. It's humans speaking to other humans. But people have managed to fluff it up and make up bullshit. It's not about saying the perfect thing and then, this unlocks her brain and then suddenly she just falls. No. It's just like attraction. It's just the way it works. The same goes with this. It's not that casein protein is going to make you go from this to this. It's not that a specific workout routine is going to make you go from this to this. No. It's the fact that this guy will just tick off the non-negotiables day after day after day, because he is, and this is the quickest way to go from here to here, he already acts like he is here. He already acts like he is at B. What would someone that is acting like they are at B do? They would imagine themselves as an athlete. They would be like, I am an athlete. What time would an athlete go to bed? Funny old thing. Probably go to bed either 9 or 10 and get up at 5 or 6 because you need 8 hours so he can recover, so he can do it again. The athlete knows he's got a busy day tomorrow. What would he do with his food? Would he not prep it and let fucking lunchtime roll around and he has to eat from some stupid sandwich shop where he doesn't know the macros and calories? Or would he think ahead and prep his meals? Bearing in mind he's an athlete with an intentional goal. He'd probably prep his meals, wouldn't he? Do you think he'd be changing his workout routine every fucking 2 weeks because some random guy's doing a mad exercise and you think that's going to work your weaker area? Or would he just stick to the basics and just get strong over time across all areas, and that's what's actually going to build him a solid physique? So you need to act like you're already at B. If you act like you're already at B with the mindset of you're an athlete, because let's be honest, as soon as you start tracking food, tracking workouts, sleeping well, working out consistently, steps, cardio, you're basically an athlete. So you may as well fucking think you are. You may as well act like you are an athlete, because it's going to make every other decision, the habit, and the way you perceive yourself a hell of a lot better. And it's going to make you go from swimming up the stream to down the stream towards the goal. This is the concept that we need to digest in our head to allow us to get to the goal. If you don't fix this, you will not get to the goal. That's it. It's the long and short of it, because you will try and come up with a stupid tactic to get round it. Or when stuff gets a little bit hard and things are a little bit inconvenient and you need to go see your mum that lives 3 hours away and you've not prepped your food, you're going to fall off. Then you're like, oh, well, that's it, mum's cooking and this, and you'll have reversed your progress. But if you're thinking like an athlete, you'll be like, right, cool, the mum's is 3 hours away, I'm going to prep these meals, take this meal with me, I'm going to allocate this amount of calories to eat mum's food so we can have a good relationship, because ultimately family's the most important thing, but I don't want to fall off plan, so I can have both. I just need to actually think about things instead of being like, oh, would she make me eat this? No. You just didn't pre-plan your calories so that you could have had enough to eat that anyway and still stay on plan. This is the point we're making. This is what the guy you need to become would do in order to get this. And these are the characteristics that this guy had, and this allowed him to get that result within the 12 weeks. Self-image. If you don't fix your self-image, I can give you the next steps. It doesn't fucking matter. We know it's not about the tactic. The tactic is obviously going to get you to the result, but if you don't have the underpinned mindset of it, you will not stick to it. And that's the main thing to understand. You will just not stick to it. I've got a client that I'm trying to develop this with. We've set him up. He's not there yet to go through this. And ultimately, nothing changes. I can give you the info, it will work, but if it's not something you can follow because you're not going to write up here, it doesn't fucking matter. So, that is step one, and the most important thing we need to understand. If there's any of this that is unclear, drop it in the comments below. If you want to hear more videos about this specific topic, drop it in the comments below. Now we're going to go into step two, which is the setup. Because, of course, if we get the setup wrong, the time frame is going to be off. Everything's going to be off if we get the setup wrong, to be honest. The amount of food, output, training even, would all be off. So we want to get this right, and I'm going to show you how I got there as well. So we took his photo from the front. Very important. Make sure you do that for yourself. Clear lighting, see everything, and then you can make your decision. Weigh yourself in, whatever metric you use in your country. I operate in kilos, and we want to look at your body fat percentage. This is then going to give us an initial calorie target, and I'm going to show you now how I got there. So if you're a returning viewer of the channel, you will have seen said calorie calculator a fair few times. Now, the first thing we want to do is look at your body composition, and ultimately, when you go through this, you can just pause the video, take your photo, and compare it to the one you see on the screen here, or you can screenshot this image and put them next to each other. But ultimately, that is going to be the best means of assessing your body fat percentage when you're at home, when you don't have calipers or a DEXA scan or any other random shit that people try and use to measure body fat, because it just don't really work. And to be honest, you've seen the results I get. This is how I do it. So to be honest, this is accurate and will work. So what we did was took his photo from the front. Now we could see from his midsection how tight he was. He was not as tight as this guy at 15%, but also not as soft as this guy at 20%. So he sat somewhere in between. So not, to be honest, too fat really, but also not carrying that much muscle tissue. And that's key for when we actually set him up. And I'm going to explain that now. So with his metrics, 93 kilograms, 17% body fat, I would say 17 or 18, give or take. We've got a lean body mass, and we've also got his RMR. This is how many calories you need for normal daily function. Now, you will know how active you are within a given day, and the most average people are going to fall here. 155, moderately active, 3 to 5 days a week, with maybe a little bit of movement around within the day. Obviously, if you sit behind a desk all day, every day, your activity is going to be lower, therefore your overall energy expenditure and maintenance is going to be lower. On the flip side, if you work in construction, if you're in the military, your output is going to be a hell of a lot higher, and you should take that into consideration. So these two numbers get times together, and it will give you your maintenance target. So bearing in mind, this guy is 6'5", so 3,100 and basically 60 calories would be his maintenance. Now, I said to you, when we set this guy up for food, it needs to be done in a tactical way. And I've spoken about this on this channel before, but it's very important I say this again. When you get somebody that is in between the 15 and 20% body fat mark, but is also not carrying that much muscle tissue, it is important that you don't put them in a, surplus to start with, although they would want to build some muscle because they've got too much body fat. Their body is not partitioning nutrients in the way of growing tissue. Would they grow muscle if they could just went in a surplus and built and trained for a while? Yes. Would they stick to it? No. And I'll tell you why. Because if you start from 17% body fat and you go into a gaining phase, you're going to put on body fat quicker. And it's going to give you the perception that you're not actually building muscle because it's underneath the body fat. So you will just sack it anyway. As soon as you get to 25% body fat and you're looking in the mirror at 25% body fat, you are not going to feel good about yourself, and you are going to cut, and you won't have bulked for that long. To get from 17 to 25% body fat won't take that long. So this is why you want to get down to 8 to 10%. You're going to be more lean and responsive to the way your body will partition nutrients, and you're going to be more lean and responsive to the way you actually do training stimulus, and you get to then see all the gains on the way up. And it gives you a big boy window of starting body fat to really, I'm too fat, I need to cut back down. However, you don't want to put them in a massive deficit either, because we still need to build some tissue in the gym. How do we build tissue in the gym? Well, we need energy. So we need fuel. We need enough fuel that's going to send that performance up over the time frame. So if you go too low, that's going to be diminished, and overall the amount of tissue is going to be diminished. Remember, this is not just a complete fat loss prescription. This is a body recomposition prescription, and this is the main thing we speak about on this channel. And it's the art of being able to build some tissue while also pull off the body fat. And that's what gets these style of results. It's being able to pull off the body fat slowly and build the tissue. Same with this guy, same with this guy, same with this guy, same with this guy. Some of them, complete fat loss. I would say also complete fat loss. But these guys here, this is where you're doing a body recomposition. You need to be strategic about the way you do it. So we took his setup. You saw his calories that we got. In fact, let me just finish what I was saying on there. So with this is very important. When you have your maintenance target, you want to sit just below maintenance. That is where you're going to start your calorie amount on, because you need to be in a slight deficit. But the fact that it's so slight, like look at the difference there. You're talking what? 250, 260 calorie? Not much at all. That will give you plenty to drive performance in the gym. This guy was on nearly 400 grams carbs. Granted, he's 6'5". The stakes are slightly different. It's going to be really different to what you have. And that's why you have the food so high to start with. So let's roll back into, we've got his setup. That's how I got there. Started 2,900 calories, 10,000 steps each day, no cardio just to begin with, and we've got his start position here. Now we go into the process. It's the ability to take you from the start position to the goal that we want to get you there. Now for weeks 1 to 6, food was kept high. Why? Well, I answered, didn't I? It's being able to drive performance in the gym as high as possible for as long as possible. So cardio actually is a good means to introduce fairly early on. You can put that in from week 2 and start it at 20 minutes, keep the heart rate 120 to 130, use something that's non-impact that you can do daily. And this cardio is going to be another lever that you're going to pull when you want to see that response from the body. Now at week 6, then food started to come down. How much by? Well, initially, when we want to see that the drop off in the scale weight come down, you want to pull at least 200 calories a piece. Now that will give you a response and you will see a drop, but then it won't. It will probably last, from experience, anywhere from 10 to 12 days. After that, by the time they do that next check-in, you're going to need to pull again. Or your other means is cardio gets ramped up. Now cardio, I wouldn't take it any higher than an hour. So you're going to go, what, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes. That's it really. So you've got 5 times to pull cardio. You can always pull food, but you want to remember, keep food as high as possible. So pulling food will give you a good quick response, and after the first 6 weeks, it's okay to do so because you give yourself a good 6-week window in the gym driving performance. The foundations are set, the way we're executing is set. So if you can ramp up cardio, then you can start to bring food down after. Unless you're so busy, you just don't have time to do 60 minutes cardio a day, in which case, then you're going to keep dialing back the food. And we continued to do so to the point where he got down from 2.9 to 2.7 to 2.5, and roughly we finished about 2.250 as we got down towards the very end. Cardio never actually went above 40 minutes, just for his lifestyle and the way we wanted to work things. Now, that's all well and good. So to summarise that little point there, keep food high, drive performance in the gym. It will slowly drop off first 6 weeks. You probably look at losing like 1, 2, 3 kilos, depends on the size of you and what that percentage means to the overall weight. From there, you're going to look to drop the hammer then and come in the next 6 weeks to really pull off that body fat. To do so, I would increase through cardio until you can't really because of time. Then I'd start decreasing from food. Now, How did we deal with social events during the plan? Well, to be honest, this guy was pretty diligent and decided I'm not going to do any socialising, any alcohol. I'm going to use this as a bit of a detox and to just absolutely send it, which he did. However, his birthday came about during this. This was the one event that we needed to navigate around. The way we did that was we took we checked in on the Tuesday, birthday on the Saturday. Okay, cool. We allocated him a spare of 100 calories from each day. That's an extra 600 calories, including the Saturday and also the Tuesday itself. So he had that amount to then play with as well. Then we wanted to also set up the day of the race where, okay, we're going out on this day. Cool, this is what you're going to eat. When you do this, you want to prioritise protein. Protein, all meals. If it's a non-training day, those meals come out anyway. If it is a training day, you put meal 1, keep it around the same, post-workout meal, and then also a shake, and that way you're going to get your protein in and then allocate the rest of the calories for alcohol. Ideally not food if you can help it, but there was enough in there for food. And to be honest, we had that structured plan. He went and did the event, and because you've been in this mindset of progress, you don't actually end up really just going wild because you're like, what's the point? And I can still enjoy myself and stay within range anyway. And I think that's important that you map ahead your trigger points that are gonna trip you up. I say to my clients every Thursday or Friday, do you have any challenges coming up this week? And what that means is, do you have any events where you need to go and socialise and be off plan? Because if so, there's a solution to every problem, and I will find that solution. And I will tell you, pull from this, or you go into this place, send me the menu, eat this, change this from this meal, change this from this meal. Ultimately, it's just, again, what would the athlete do? He'd plan ahead. He'd make sure he'd stay within his macros. He'd make sure he doesn't go over his calories. Getting to the goal is important. And at the end of the day, this isn't a once thing. This isn't do 12 weeks and that's it, you're done. This is new lifestyle. So, like, you're going to want to be thinking on this wavelength anyway as you go into the future. Now, when you're in the depths of a gaining phase, do you need to be thinking this meticulous? I mean, it's probably a good idea, but it's not going to hurt you that much if you don't. When you're in a dieting phase, everything wants to be no beats missed. So this is what you're going to have to do. Think of that athlete. This is what he would do. But it's a good skill for you to train, because then you've always got that then. You always know how to navigate certain situations and not completely go back to the old version of you. Now, what happens next for this athlete? So it's May. We've just come into the summer. He's going to hold that condition, and he's actually going to run a series of fitness events. He's now obviously his lightest, leanest, sharpest, and the most muscular, so he's very fit at the minute as well, especially after the cardio that we've done. And then he's going to go into a gaining phase into the winter. Remember, I said he's now in a prime position to enter that gaining phase. Lean, very responsive, will use nutrients very efficiently, so we'll pack on a lot of tissue. What's important to understand is that you don't go from diet calories, maintenance calories, or surplus calories. You want to reverse back out, and this is something that we're managing with him now. So he finished yesterday. The reverse plan got sent obviously yesterday, and that had an extra 200 calories. We want to now reverse the way we came down is the way we're going to go back up. Gradual, steady. You can pull the cardio down a little bit. You can increase a little bit of food. We want to get the body used to taking on more food and more nutrition to get him back to maintenance, to then ultimately be able to just live life again. I would get it up and show you, but this guy, in fact, do you know what? Pretty much every client I've got, we've reversed them out correctly. They're still holding that condition and they're 4 or 5 kilos up. So you can have the food and the condition, but you need to reverse correctly. If you don't know how to do that, I've got a whole video how to do reverse dieting. Just go and watch that, but ultimately just watch that closer towards you get towards the end goal. Now, my throat is starting to get dry, so I'm going to wrap this video up here. Hopefully you did find it useful. If you did, subscribe and maybe share it with a friend that needs it. If you want to work specifically with me and get this style of result, just message me on Instagram. You've got the calendar booking, but Instagram's faster, so just do that. And I will see you tomorrow.